Hello, welcome to Lemon Studios, where we talk movies, television, and wrestling. I'm, of course, the Lemon himself, Zeke Lemon, and this is my review for The Bride. But before we get into that, let's get the housekeeping out of the way. Shall I leave a like, comment below, let me know your thoughts on The Bride, and of course, hit that subscribe button as it helps me grow into my YouTube career. I would greatly appreciate it. Now, all that out of the way, let's get into it, shall we? Well, the movie's called The Bride, but yet you can't really see her on it. This is legit the biggest poster that I have ever gotten for a new release when I head to the theater. And I really wonder where I'm going to put at work, because I always take them to my job and I add them to it. It's like always a time capsule of the year itself. But anyway, let's get into the actual review, shall we? So, getting this to you a little bit late, simply because I am, no longer processing it. But it took me a good full day to really process the whole entire film, because of my immediate thoughts right on TikTok. I was going through all the emotions of what I liked, what I didn't like. I think this is going to be a very polarizing film. I think this is a very well-made film in a lot of ways. I mean, there are a lot of things to enjoy on it, but it is a movie where I can see both sides. If you weren't a huge fan of the movie, I can acknowledge, yes, it has some shortcomings to it. If you love the movie, I can see why this would be one of your favorites of the year, if not your favorite of the year. I just think it's that complex of a film. Now that I have really thought about it, and really got my thoughts completely, well, who knows if my thoughts are completely processed here, I do lean on towards I did enjoy the movie quite a bit. Now, I still have my problems with the film, which we will get into, but I'm going to start off with everything that I liked on it. First things first, the performances, right? The two people that we are mainly here for. It's not even necessarily them. The whole entire cast does a great job with what's there, given that everyone really brought it. But Jessie Buckley and Christian Bale are absolutely phenomenal in the film. Jessie Buckley, who, granted, she wasn't really on my radar that much. The only project that I recall seeing her after I looked up her filmography is in Men. I was like, oh yeah, that was her, and she was good in that movie. But I didn't necessarily love Men that much either. But then Hamnet, right? Which I feel like, a lot of people is when they finally noticed Jessie Buckley, who to me is a lock to win Best Actress at the Oscars. If she doesn't win, something went wrong. Especially considering I think she's won every other major leading actress role pre-Oscars as well. So yeah, I think it is a pretty solid lock, and as it should. She deserves it. Now we have here in The Bride, who were, again, back-to-back performances that are absolutely stellar. And again, I was thinking back to Men as well. She never really does have a bad performance, does she? Like, these two films have really made me fall in love with her as a performer. To the point now, if she's on the bill, if she's on the marquee, I'm buying the ticket to go see it, whether I'm interested in seeing the movie or not, because I think she just performs the movie that well. And Christian Bale as the monster, as Frankenstein, that is what he calls himself in the movie. He brings this nice tenderness, this sweetness to Frankenstein that I feel like a lot of people in earlier adaptations post the original. Jacob Alderardi did a great job with it in his film as well, that I feel like a lot of people forgot. They just think monster, right? Big, boom, brash. And yes, that's certainly there with Christian Bale. Like, when he has to turn the monster on, boy, does he turn it on, and is very visceral. But for the most part, he's just this sweet boy who just wants to feel love and no longer wants to feel lonely. And I feel like a lot of us could really relate to him on that level. Now, with that being said, he does have some shortcomings. Like, his whole entire arc throughout this film is really a journey where I overall don't necessarily agree with where he ends up. Just because he does make some mistakes. The way that he is talking to his bride, Jessie Buckley, who's, I'm not going to give out the names because that's a visceral part of the storytelling of it. But, the way that he's talking to his bride, he's not being fully honest with her all the way through. And with how long it goes and with everything that happens in it, there are just some things where, like, I could forgive a lot, especially for it being within the name of love. But overall, I just wasn't a huge fan of where we ended up on it, because I don't feel like he got the full comeuppance that he deserved. They do kind of explain it in the end a little bit, where I'm able to swallow it a little bit better. And again, after processing it for a little bit longer, you know, I can accept it for what it is. But overall, I just didn't necessarily agree with the decision on it. As for Jessie Buckley's character, the bride, she does a great job with it. I feel like maybe in all projects that the bride is in, Frankenstein, I feel like this is the most screen time it's ever gotten. Like, it actually feels like she's the lead in the movie. And she does a phenomenal job as the bride. She is also playing Mary Shelley, which, you know, again, that's nothing new, right? Usually the person who plays the bride is playing double duty. This goes back to the original in a lot of ways. But Mary Shelley is a character in this movie, and overall didn't work for me. The Mary Shelley character. Every time we cut back to it, it kind of took me out of the movie a little bit. Like, I feel like the pacing stopped a good chunk of it. Again, it has a vital part in the story, and I understand it as a narrative device. But overall, to me, I would have preferred without it. And also the whole beginning of the movie, like the first 10 minutes, the prologue of the film, if you will, I'm still not a huge fan of. And honestly, to me, even though, again, there's some vital information in it, the beginning does have a purpose for later on within the film, I would have cut it. Like, that's how much I just don't like the beginning of this movie. Now, once Frankenstein comes into play, and then, you know, the bride is there, and they start doing the whole entire thing, and it kind of transitions from this gothic romance movie to a undead Bonnie and Clyde film. Boy, I think the movie sings, and I think it sings very, very well. And then it's also like kind of transitioning as it's doing this undead Bonnie and Clyde storyline. It kind of turns into the female Joker in a lot of ways with some things that she does in the film. I'm really trying to showcase her because it is her movie, but my shoulder keeps getting in the way of her. But, you know, when it gets into that portion, that stuff's really interesting as well. The second act of this movie is very, very strong. Pacing has no issues. Again, to me, Mary Shelley kind of takes a really big back seat within the film as well, which to me is a plus because I wasn't a huge fan of that character. But then as we are transitioning into the third act, it does feel like, oh crap, we need to wrap this thing up. We were only guaranteed, I think this movie was like 2 hours and 10 minutes long. We were only granted this. We need to wrap this thing up. And then it starts to feel like it's speed running in a lot of ways. And it doesn't feel like everything got to this organic conclusion. So therefore, where I could got to some of the endings, I could have swallowed it a little bit better. Because also the final beat of the movie, like literally the final second right before the credits roll, I didn't love that moment either. Like, I'm just sitting there going like, really? That's what we're doing? That's what we're going to land on? Okay. Like, I mean, I somewhat get it. And I probably need to rewatch the movie again to really have a definite feeling on it. But when we got to that ending, like, I get it's macabre, you know, it's back to that gothic romance type story. But I just don't feel like we completely earned it, and I don't feel like the characters for where we were heading and where they were thinking overall didn't think they would necessarily do that to me personally. But again, after a rewatch and now I understand where everything's going to go, I can look out for those things and see, okay, yes, no, this was definitely the right decision to make. So yeah, again, overall, I mean, that second act to me is so strong. And, you know, Christian Bale and Jessie Buckley does an amazing job within the film as their characters. The scenery is absolutely stunning to look at as well. Like, when they get to New York, there is this sense of awe moment as you see old school New York. And, you know, there's this big pan wide shot that goes around all of them. And you feel it. Like, you know, they're looking around like, wow. And you're also looking around going, wow, this is absolutely beautiful and stunning to look at. Costume design is really good. Performances are amazing. Again, to me, it takes a little bit to get going. After those first 10 minutes, the movie gets a little bit better. Not just a little bit better, it gets a lot better for that matter. And then as we get to the end, it starts to feel like a little bit of a speed run. And within that, it does feel like the pacing is stalling and it feels longer than it really is, even though, again, the movie is actually really picking up the speed, but yet it still longs because there feels a disconnect between the pacing that was established so well in that second act of the film, to the point where if I had to rank this on the lemon scale, where it goes sour lemon at the bottom. Expired store-bought lemonade, bad, but hey, there's some good. Store-bought lemonade, good, but hey, there's some bad. Lemonade, it's a movie. Freshly squeezed lemonade, very good, just some minor problems within it. And then strawberry lemonade at the very top because it's the best kind of lemonade. I think The Bride is eliminated, which is a little bit disappointing to me because I was fully going into this movie expecting to love it, which is not necessarily fair to a movie because when you watch a movie and you're expecting to love it, you had this whole idea of how good this movie was going to be, and then when you see it, it turned out it was just good, and therefore there is some disappointment within that. But again, overall, to me, still a very fun time at the movies. I would love to rewatch it again at some point down the line, but am I in a rush to go out to re-see it? No. I don't know if that's a factor into your wanting to go see the movie or not, but if you are interested in seeing it in the theaters, I think it's well worth seeing it in the movies at least one time. Again, I'm not in the rush to see it again, but I did have fun for the time that I was there. For a big bulk of the movie, it's just, again, some decisions I wasn't a huge fan of, and the ending still kind of gets me even right now because I overall don't agree with it, but I do kind of understand where they were going for. But we'll see how that is later on down the road. But yeah, have you had a chance to see The Bride? Comment below, let me know your thoughts on the movie. Leave a like if you made it this far within a review. I do greatly appreciate it. And hit that subscribe button as it helps me grow into my YouTube career. And don't forget to squeeze the days, guys, because life is too short not to give you. Also, squeeze every opportunity that you can. Until next time, I'll see you here at Lemon Studios.